You hadn't cried yet. You hadn't said anything. You hadn't moved differently, hadn't changed the lighting, hadn't done anything that a person in the room with you would have noticed. And yet, the dog was already there, on your lap. That specific, almost unnatural stillness they get. Not the playful kind of still. The other kind, before the tears, before the phone call, before you'd even put a name to what you were feeling. Pause 3 seconds, let that land. So here's the question no one actually asks. How far ahead of your own conscious awareness is your dog reading you? Because if it's before the tears, before the expression, before the sound, then what exactly is being detected? The warm answer is, he just knows you. You've lived together for years. He's picked up on your rhythms, your moods, your patterns. And look, there's truth in that. Familiarity matters. But here's where it falls apart. Dogs detect human emotional states in complete strangers, people they have never encountered before, with statistically significant accuracy. This isn't about knowing you. The comfortable explanation doesn't survive contact with the data. What your dog is actually doing is running a simultaneous multi-channel scan of your biology, olfactory input, acoustic input, visual input, micro-behavioral pattern recognition, all processed in parallel, cross-referenced against each other in a system that no human nervous system replicates consciously. Dr. Biagio Daniello's 2018 research at the University of Naples documented that fear and happiness produce chemically distinct sweat compositions, and dogs distinguish between them with measurable accuracy. So it's emotional sensitivity. Actually, wait, it's not sensitivity. That word implies something soft and intuitive. What we're actually describing is biological instrumentation, a detection apparatus that makes human emotional perception look genuinely amateur. And it runs faster than you think. Cortisol, adrenaline, apocrine gland output. These shift measurably within seconds of an emotional state change, before your face changes, before your voice changes, before your posture shifts. A 2019 PLOS ONE study documented that dogs exposed to human stress odor samples, not the person, just the sweat, showed elevated affiliative behavior within the first minute of exposure. The detection precedes every signal you think you're sending. By the time you're aware something is wrong, your dog has already completed the analysis, and you can watch it happen if you know what you're looking at. The sequence goes: sudden cessation of whatever they were doing, ears rotating, independently, not together, toward you. Then the nose lifts and works in short, rapid sequences. Then the approach begins. Slow, deliberate, head slightly lowered, eyes soft. Most people read that approach as comfort behavior. It's not, or at least that's not what it is yet. What you're watching is the tail end of a detection sequence. The investigation concluded before the movement started. By the time your dog reaches you, the assessment is already done. You're receiving the response, not the process. The response also varies depending on what they've detected. A 2016 Biology Letters study by Natalia Albuquerque showed dogs combine facial expression and vocal cues cross-modally to categorize human emotional states, and the behavioral outputs are distinct. Sadness triggers affiliative approach. They come to you. Fear triggers alert vigilance. They scan the environment, looking for the threat you're responding to. Anger triggers avoidance or appeasement behavior. This isn't detection, it's categorization followed by a selected response protocol. The dog isn't just picking up that something changed, it's identifying what changed and choosing accordingly, which makes sense evolutionarily. Dogs whose ancestors accurately read human emotional states received better food, better treatment, better protection. Emotional detection wasn't a bonus trait that emerged from domestication. It was a survival advantage that compounded across 15,000 years of inadvertent human selection pressure. Breed variation shows you how far this diverged. A bloodhound processes olfactory emotional data at a scale that's almost unfair to compare to anything else. A Shiba Inu detects it and files it under "not my problem." A Labrador detects it and immediately becomes structurally incapable of leaving you alone. Same detection system. Very different response protocols. Now here's the part that's harder to sit with. The behavioral science doesn't fully support the interpretation that your dog approaches when you're sad out of empathy or love, at least not exclusively. Emotional state changes in a primary attachment figure represent environmental unpredictability to the dog. your changed state signals instability in the one variable their entire life is organized around. The approach behavior is partially affiliative, yes, but it's also partially self-regulatory. They are managing their own uncertainty about what their state means for the stability of their environment. Look directly into camera. That doesn't make it less real. It makes it more complicated. And the implications of that go further than most people are comfortable with. Stockholm University's cortisol mirroring research documented measurable hormonal synchronization between dogs and their owners. Owners who cycle frequently through emotional extremes. Chronic anxiety, depression that goes unmanaged, produce dogs with elevated baseline stress profiles. Your emotional dysregulation isn't just your private experience, it is your dog's environmental condition. They are living inside your nervous system. Whether you invited them in or not, the reductive explanation you'll hear is that dogs detect emotion purely through smell. It's all in the nose. Sure, except dogs shown photographs of happy versus angry human faces, with zero olfactory input available, show measurably different physiological responses. Hold up a printed photograph. Look at camera, remove the smell entirely. They still know. What we're dealing with is a multi-system detection apparatus, not a very good nose attached to an otherwise oblivious animal. The precise psychological distinction worth making here is between empathy and emotional contagion. Empathy requires perspective taking, the ability to model another being's internal experience as separate from your own. Emotional contagion is something older and more automatic, the involuntary mirroring of an emotional state. Franz de Waal's contagion research framework, applied to canine behavior, points clearly in this direction. Your dog doesn't understand your sadness, it catches it, the way a yawn spreads across a room. That distinction matters more than it sounds. There's also a neurochemical layer underneath the behavioral one. Human crying produces a specific acoustic profile, the frequency, the rhythm, the irregularity of it. Free studies conducted at Yale-Vos-Lauren University, mapping canine auditory cortex responses to human emotional vocalizations, showed limbic activation in response to human crying specifically. I could walk you through the exact amygdala to hypothalamus pathway this triggers, but simply put, the sound of human crying activates the same neural regions in your dog that process socially significant threat information. Your tears are a biological alarm they are neurologically incapable of filtering out. So what do you actually do with this? Set down phone. First, stop performing emotional neutrality around your dog. They already know. The mismatch between what you're displaying and what your biochemistry is broadcasting doesn't produce calm. It produces confusion. Second, use your dog's detection sequence as data. If they're moving toward you with that deliberate lowered head approach before you've consciously registered that something is wrong, take that seriously. Your dog is responding to a physiological shift that your conscious mind hasn't caught up to yet. Third, understand that receding your dog's comfort without addressing what produces it chronically is an incomplete exchange. Their presence during your hard moments is partially their stress response. That matters, which brings us back to the dog who was already there before the tears. Cause. Remember from the beginning. The repositioning. The dog that turns to face you directly the moment your emotional state shifts. That behavior has a documented mechanism. Direct facial orientation during human emotional state changes is linked to left gaze bias. Dogs preferentially scan the right side of human faces, where emotional expression is neurologically more pronounced due to right hemisphere dominance. Research from the University of Lincoln confirmed this as a specifically social, emotionally driven attentional behavior. They aren't turning toward you out of devotion. They are optimizing their sensor array. 15,000 years of selection pressure produced an animal that reads your face. Specifically, the right side of your face more accurately than most humans do. That behavior you interpreted as loyalty is actually precision. Think of the last time you were upset and your dog showed up before you expected. What did they do first? Before they touched you, before they made a sound. That first micro-behavior. The ear rotation, the nose lift, the cessation of movement. Put it in the comments. Because that first thing is the detection sequence ending, and it looks different in every dog.